I had been approved for the job not only because I was a party member, but I had family connections in Moscow. As such, I reported to Moscow. The facility itself was dull and unremarkable on the outside, but that was just the tip of the iceberg, as you say. For it went several stories deep underground, which was where the top secret part happened. That was where the top medical experts and biologists from the Academy of Sciences conducted research and experiments. This was when scientists were among the most revered members of society. They had put a man into space and constructed the atom bomb. There were no heights that they could not scale. The events of April 1986 would put an eternal blemish on that idea in the public's mind. But I lost my faith in them on the day of August 30th, 1979. I had just arrived at work when I was summoned by Dr. Petrov, the director of the facility. The guards at the various checkpoints had waved me through as usual, but otherwise, it was empty. According to Petrov, there had been some accident during the night, and while he assured me that everything was under control, he was under orders from the Ministry of Health to place the area under lockdown. All non-essential personnel had been told to stay home or not to come in by the shift chief. This had happened before, so I was not alarmed in any way. Petrov seemed to be his normal self, but I noticed that he was perspiring quite a bit when he lit a cigarette. I thought I noticed what looked like a bandage on his arm under his lab coat. Everything is under control, Vasily Alexander. Just a precaution, he said before turning out of his office and heading towards the elevator that went straight to the underground labs and offices. I went the opposite way in the direction of my office. When I arrived, I noticed my aide, Nikola, was not at his desk. Unusual, but not unheard of. Most likely, he had been sent home as well. So I busied myself with the usual security reports, letters and memos, and other matters that I always try to take care of early in the day. I was accompanied by my typical amount of cigarettes and coffee. It was almost lunchtime when the phone started buzzing. The phone, as in the special red phone on the corner of my desk that connects me to both the secure lines underground and to my superiors in Moscow. From the button lighting up on the phone's console, the call was coming from underground. Yes? There was silence on the other end of the line. Hello? Still nothing. Is there a problem? I heard something that sounded like a grunt or a wheeze. That was followed by a loud, clattering noise. But in the background, I distinctly heard the sound of a person screaming before it immediately stopped. Dr. Petrov. When there was no further response, I hung up, left my office, and walked quickly towards the facility's atrium, where 2 army guards were usually on duty there. Today was no exception, as both Victor and Anatoly were at their normal posts outside of the front. What's going on below? I asked, ignoring the usual pleasantries. I am not aware of anything aside from what Dr. Petrov informed me, Comrade Ivanov. Is there a problem? Anatoly asked, clearly confused. I received a call in my office a few moments ago. The secure line. No answer, but it sounded like something was happening. I heard a person screaming. We've heard nothing out of the ordinary all morning. In fact, no sign of anything. I paused for a moment, deep in thought. All right, Victor, you come with me. We're going down there. Anatoly, stay here. And if we don't return immediately, contact our superiors and inform them something is wrong. He nodded without saying a word. Turning to face Victor, I continued. I'll be right back. There's something that I need from my office first. Without Without another word, I went back upstairs, took off my suit jacket, and opened the bottom drawer of my desk, and took the pistol that I had plenty of experience using, but never fired on the job, in the holster it came with. I put the holster on, and made sure the gun was ready to go and loaded before sliding it into said holster. Carefully putting my suit jacket back on, I returned to the atrium. Alright, let's go, was all I said to Victor before I entered the code into the elevator. We stood in the secure, windowless block for what seemed like an eternity. I didn't say a word to Victor, who had a distinguished career in the army, and like everyone else at the facility, had ties to powerful people in Moscow. This was one of the most revered medical research facilities in the Soviet Union. Everything was top of the line, so I couldn't imagine what the problem was. The elevator eventually stopped at the underground section, the doors opening silently. When it did, Victor and I gazed at the vast, climate-controlled corridor with both awe and panic. The several doctors and other personnel, among the most distinguished in the Union, were lying motionless on the ground. All had suffered some injury and had blood on the ground, with some had pieces of flesh ripped from their body and were marked by what looked like bite marks from an animal attack. My stomach lurched as I stepped carefully into the corridor, Victor behind me. With one hand resting nervously on my gun, I stepped around the bodies of what had once been my colleagues. What happened? I managed to ask him. I don't know. I looked back and saw that the normally calm and unaffected Belarusian was pale. I've never seen anything like this. I haven't either. We kept on, trekking through the vast labyrinth of hallways, corridors, labs, offices, and other rooms. But we found no other bodies aside from the one right near the secure elevator. Each step that we made seemed far too loud in the underground corridors. I suddenly felt a sense of being boxed in. How the whole area was solidly packed in on every side by layers of dirt. There was no telling how much time had passed, but after what seemed like hours, we turned the corridor and found what looked to be an operating room. But what got my attention was the figure in the lab coat, huddled on the opposite side of the room, back turned to us. Dr. Petrov, I asked. The figure turned, and it was Dr. Petrov, or at least it looked like him. His previously ruddy skin had turned to deathly pale, and his eyes were glassy and empty. I also noticed that his lab coat was stained with blood on the arm, where I had thought there was a bandage earlier. But the most striking thing was the walk. He shuffled towards us like a drunkard, arms outstretched, like he was reaching for something. Dr. Petrov, I said louder. He didn't answer, but emitted some pained moan. He got closer and closer to us. I wasn't sure what exactly to do, but instinct took over, and I knew that we had to get out of there. Run! I yelled at Victor, and he immediately scrambled out of the room. I was right behind him, feeling what had previously been Dr. Petrov lumbering behind me, and I slammed the door just as his arms were reaching out to grab me. I pushed all of my weight against the door, as Petrov clumsily tried to force it open. I frantically looked around for